be live. Ladies and gentlemen, can I request you to settle down so that we can unleash the day zero power on you? Good morning, Log9. Good morning, Bangalore. Seems like on Log9's day zero, even Bangalore is a little kind. Finally, we got some rains. I think when you complete 9 years of innovation, you do deserve a little bit of blessings from the sky, don't you? And I think that's how we received it yesterday, and super excited to be here among everyone. This is a day that everybody has asked, what is day zero? What is day zero is all about? And it's a goal-setting day. It's a day of recognition of what we've done last year. It's a day to reset the goals for the next year. It's also a day to be a little humble and see what we can achieve and what we did not achieve. It's a day of introspection, and it's a day of friends coming together in this hall. So I'm super excited. Thank you, everyone who's joined us online. And I'm thank you for everyone who are among here. We have some distinguished guests who are here with us, and you will have the opportunity to listen to them. But super excited about day zero. This is our 9th edition. And you know, Akshay, Karthik, I keep thinking, if in 9 years we can build it this far, what will we do in a decade? What's going to be the day zero 2025? But that's for the end of the program. Let's look at how the year had been. What is it that we have achieved? What is it that has been rolling in our minds? What is it that has been translating in numbers? And that's where the mind is actually going through. It's very difficult to dissect a business into numbers. But numbers paint a picture that's very simplistic. Can I take Log9 and drill it down into the numbers like these? And if you look at it, the prime numbers that we have been looking at is what is it that we're tracking is what matters to us most. And what matters to us most is impact. And these are the impact that we've been able to create with the technologies in the minds of Log9ers. If you look at it, we've done about 20 million kilometers. That's several trips to the moon. right? When you build a technology that can drive itself to the moon and back, not once, not twice, not thrice, not 10, not 20 times, that's called technology, that's called innovation, that's called stability of tech. And I can see Ankush at the center. Thanks for doing that, man. It is your team. It is the products that you've been building. It is the InstaChart team that has brought this technology which can drive to moon 20 million kilometers back and forth, still hold itself true. The other number is one of the biggest things that we are very proud of, and Karthik would be very proud of it, is the fast charging sessions. The highest number of fast charging that has happened in this country has been on Log9 platforms. And you usually hear this statement, sir, slow charge your electric vehicle. Well, at Log9, that's not the way we are. At Log9, it's about fast charge every time if you want to, because that's what we build the tech for. And with 2046 fast charging sessions that we have seen, it's a massive, massive fast charge that we bring to the platform. But it really doesn't nail down the numbers till you look at the G emission reduction. What we've done is 2,600 plus tons of carbon dioxide eliminated from this world. And that's where the impact really hits you hard. You can build any technology, you can make it available at the most rapid pace, but does it leave the planet a shade better than we found it? And that's where we are today with these kind of numbers. And how did we achieve it? With our 6,500 batteries that have been commercialized successfully in the market. Everything from two-wheelers to three-wheelers to four-wheelers, everything's been done out of these batteries. And you just cannot, you can build a tech, you can build a product, but it's your partners. These are the customers, the change agents, the climate action-oriented people who actually adopt a technology and massively scale it up in front of you. And that's where we have the pleasure of having about 150 fleet partners that have worked tirelessly with Log9 to get this technology adopted in those vehicles and do deliveries to the last mile. And we are super proud. Some of you are here with us. And we will talk more about your contribution in Log9's journey. And we're super excited that we have the opportunity to work with you in your businesses. And everything when you do with the heart, it leads you to innovation, and 130 patents is a testament of those innovations that Log9 has been creating. And every month, I think we file about 2 to 3 patents, and sometimes more, and that's the trajectory that Log9 has been on. So super excited. Everything has been documented in a way to tell us that we're going in the right direction. That's what makes this Day Zero very special. But when I talk about emissions, you have to really drill it down. Which emissions am I talking about? Which product category are we talking about? Why are we building a product for a particular category? And that's the way to kind of look at it. If you take the world's emission, about 21% of that is coming from transport emissions. And transport is everything. It's from air to ships to road transports. Everything kind of fills into that quarter. And that's a very relevant quarter. And that's where probably you can do a lot of decarbonization. But if you dissect that any further, 75% of that is coming from road vehicle. And the common narrative is the aircraft that makes a lot of GHG emission. It does. But here's a big pie. 70% of the emissions on the road is coming from road emissions. And that's private and commercial. And you drill down a little bit and you actually go to the commercial segment of that, and 33% of that is literally the commercial segment. It's the freight market. It's where the deliveries are being done. And these are the vehicles that sweat the asset the most. They run the kilometers the maximum in the shortest possible time. And that's where the Achilles heel is. Can you build a product for a segment like this, which decarbonizes every kilometer very, very fast? Because to run 100,000 kilometers, perhaps a personal car will take maybe, let's say, 10 years. Whereas a business vehicle can go through 100,000 kilometers in a matter of 2 years. You want to turbocharge them. You want to give them the power. You want to bring them on board to kind of have technology that will allow them to decarbonize that. And talking about innovation and carbon, I think the time for action is there. The time for activism is over. We all know that the global warming is there. We've all seen what's happened in Dubai. And today among us, I have a very dear friend, Mirik. And Mirik, I want to kind of hear from you that you always talk about action-oriented goals. You always talk about decarbonizing the world through technology, through adopting of products, pushing the products to where people can actually use them, and going beyond planting a tree and saying, can I create something that can massively clean up the planet? action-oriented innovation that leads to climate impact is something that you've been very articulate about it. You put your money in that direction, you put your heart, mind, soul in that direction. Can I have you on the stage with me and share some of your thoughts in that direction?
Yeah, so thanks, Pankaj. I think you mentioned a lot of numbers. I think one number that keeps me awake at night is 51 billion tons of CO2 equivalent emissions a year that the current world is emitting. So, and how do you get that to zero? So just to give you a sense, I am part of RT Industries looking at corporate strategy, but we have a family office called Spectrum Impact, and at Spectrum Impact, we have deployed a sizable amount of capital in various forms to over 65, 70 organizations in climate globally. So it's not limited to India, and we truly believe it's a global problem. So one of the lens that we look at is where are the emissions coming from. So precisely the chart that you showed on is there are so many different sectors of emissions. And when you drill down and ask questions like how do you solve that problem? And ask the question, okay, for this particular solution, what is the bottleneck for that? What is the bottleneck for that? I think asking that 3-4 times leads you to the solution, which is the solution that can have the most leveraged impact. One thing that we realize, the amount of capital that is going to be required for this climate transition is going to be very, very high. And the role of the ecosystem and the people who are really banking or coming at the early stage is to de-risk the technology like Log9 or others, and de-risk the business model. And I'll come to the business model as well. But de-risk both those so that the bigger capital can come in and so that we start reaching inflection points on all technologies. And that's the thought process that at Spectrum we are really looking at. And that's why I think one of the notions that also needs to change is you have to have a very problem-solving approach. So even in, I know we and Akshay have been working on various business models at Log9, and some of these things need to evolve. And the ecosystem has to show the flexibility and get out of that siloed mindset that we can do only venture investing or only grants or only debt. And how do you really work together? This is a problem which is so complex and so immense that we really need to rethink the way that we are actually doing business in multiple folds. So I first of all thank you for the opportunity, and just my humble sense is this will require a lot of collaborations, and I am very confident that Log9 is going to be one of the leading companies in India, if not the world. But to be frank, we need hundreds of Log9s, and that's something that also we are looking at. So thanks.
Thank you, Mirik. Hundreds of Log9. I wish that happens, and that happens very, very fast. And as we talk about taking action, I'd like to take a step back and see what actions we promised last year. Let's do a recap of Day Zero 2023, because that's where we took the biggest action for India, creating something unique that India has never seen before us. Good morning, Log9. How are you feeling today?
I think it's been a great journey of a year. We had a great time last year on Day Zero 2022.
So a promise was made to establish India's first cell production line in the country.
By executing the tablet structure, we are actually reducing the ohmic resistance in the system and providing the better heat dissipation throughout the cell technology.
Absolutely also thrilling to see the deep tech and innovation and capability there. At the core of everything in deep tech lies cell and battery technology, because that translates the cyber to the physical.
From the last April 29, 2022 to today, it's a tremendous progress have been made. They started from a simple chemistry, Now they are producing high reliability and high quality and high safety that commercial cell. Definitely the credit must goes to the entire team, Log9, youngsters as well as the management.
Cell selection, thermal management, electronics and control algorithms. These are the four major pillars which have to work very much in tandem to make sure that your battery gets charged fast. If we are not able to maintain the temperature inside the battery pack across the cell variations, right, then definitely one of those cells will give lesser capacity, hence reducing the overall capacity of the battery pack.
What we witnessed today here is magical. I know when we initially considered investing into Log9, I think almost 2 years back, the more exciting fact about Log9 at that time was about nanomaterial technology, the graphene manufacturing in an innovative way.
And I'm pretty sure that Log9 will help us in being the global champions for Formula electric vehicles.
That was a promise that we made last year, Day Zero 2023, which was about building technologies. And what we just heard from Mirig is about putting that technology into action. And Karthik, I think you and your team, Gautam, Harshil, everybody, everybody has been kind of, pushing the boundaries in terms of taking technologies to people who are going to be the adopters of this technology, who are going to change the world with the adoption of technology and deploying it. But is that a straightforward journey? Can you just switch, get an EV and change the world? Is it that simple?
Thanks, Pankaj, and good morning, everyone. Thanks for being a part of our Day Zero series. It's really good to see some common faces every year. So yeah, it seems like we're doing something good. Now, what I'm going to present after this is something that I would like it to go as a story, because most of you would have heard that we've been doing this, we've been working on this, this business is grooming up, but what is it exactly? Because there's been something under stealth that we've been building in the last 2 years. So to start, so let's see what we did. So 2 years back, 2.5 years back, we started with our battery packs, with the vision of making battery packs specifically for the commercial EV market altogether, because primarily makes sense for sustainability, makes sense for economics. There's no better area to start electrifying than the commercial EV space. When we started doing it and we brought a complete technology which can fast charge, which can live longer, and we started going to the market to see where can it fit in. Multiple use cases, multiple type of customers. But while doing all of that, we realized that the complete landscape of how logistics happens in India is changing. To give you so for example, all of us know how it's changing, right? All of us, the consumption pattern, the way we consume the way we shop has started changing. There's food tech, there's e-commerce, there's quick commerce now. Everything is becoming swifter. If I talk about logistics, which used to happen more than 5 years back, that was even 5 years back, yeah, as recent as that, those were not swift enough. The time it took for us to get our deliveries used to be 2 to 3 days, 4 days. Now e-commerce, quick commerce has changed that. With this changing landscape, the way logistics happens is getting more organized. And that's where the whole concept of a fleet operator started coming in. Fleet operators used to exist before as well, but more in the interhaul, in the long haul space where you had trucks, etc. In the last mile space, it was still a lot fragmented. But with e-commerce, with quick commerce, with food tech, all of that happening, this complete sector started getting aggregated because it needed optimization, it needed swiftness. And that's where we started realizing that this commercial EV last mile market will be driven more by fleet operators than a fragmented approach which used to happen 10 years, 15 years back. So if you need to electrify this market, the approach has to be very different. So once we started interacting with these, with the fleet operators who are our partners, we started realizing that what are their challenges? Okay, so you've put together a battery pack which can fast charge. You've given them a vehicle, a two-wheeler, a three-wheeler which can do deliveries. The battery can stay for long. But will that help you accelerate adoption of these products? We realized no. We realized there are so many broken pieces. But why is a fleet operator themselves not able to, or even if trying difficult to solve all of these puzzles for themselves? So we realized there are two major problems that they're already facing. The first one being drivers. So as all of us know today, there are lakhs of people or a new workforce which has been created just to deliver goods at home, right? The food tech market, the e-commerce market, this last mile space didn't used to exist. This workforce didn't used to exist because we ourselves used to head out of our houses, go to the retail store, buy what we needed. But now that wallet share of ours is going to a delivery agent who's delivering these goods to our place. So that shift is happening. So there is this complete workforce which has been created, which we call a gig delivery workforce. But then on a positive note, for the workforce, it's very good because you get variable pay based on how much you deliver, how you deliver. It's incentivized. It's very different than the traditional blue-collar workforce that we used to have, which was very fixed cost, etc. So that gave a lot of flexibility, and definitely, hence, it became an industry pretty quickly. 10 lakh almost drivers just on last mile is a good enough scale that you can get in the last 3 to 4 years itself. But on the negative side of it, for a fleet operator, churn of these drivers is pretty high. If you talk to any fleet operator, the attrition for these drivers is very high in any city you go to, tier 1s majorly. 30 to 35% goes up to even 40%, tier 2 cities being 20 to 25%. Now think of it, you're running a 500 vehicle fleet, and every month you need to hire 20 to 30% of your workforce again, train them, again get them to deliver. Enough of a task to do. So point one, that takes up a lot of bandwidth already of the fleet operators. Second, as we are saying, okay, logistics is becoming more organized. There are players like Big Basket, Amazons, etc. coming in. But they're also asking for optimization in their value chain, right? They're also asking that the logistics should happen efficiently. Every cost should be saved. Every buck should be saved. So that's where customer SLAs, which we call service level agreements with these fleet operators, started becoming as tight as possible. Delivery operations was also, think of it, we today are very easily enjoying a 7-minute delivery at our home. But the operations that goes into managing that by the logistic company to the e-com company we're interacting with, it's in itself is a task. So we realized these two itself are big problems for these fleet operators. Now on the top of it, now you ask them, why don't you switch from ICE to EV? There's too much to do. And now you're telling him there is this new product, which unlike ICE, doesn't have you can't refuel it within 2 minutes. There are no petrol bunks at scale. So it's a very different product altogether. They don't know how to maintain it. The financing system is broken currently, still coming up, but still broken for the EV market. So there were enough questions which EV to choose, how to use it, how to maintain it, how to charge it, where to charge it. Last mile is a very complex problem. If you see in the last mile segment, servicing, financing, business intelligence, energy efficiencies, charging infra. Think of it, you have close to 1,000 two-wheelers you're managing for Zomato in a city like Bangalore. These are 1,000 riders delivering almost 20 average orders per day, which means 20,000 orders every day. Now you need to manage charging of those vehicles. You need to manage that every day. Maximum 2 days in a month, your vehicle has to be down. You can't afford more than that because the margins are thin enough that if you don't have the vehicles up beyond, then you're in loss. Financing currently is expensive. There is no visibility on how the battery life would be. Can I account battery life to get a better financing? Because the risk is completely on the battery for a financier. So a lot of broken pieces. So once we took our technology to the market and started giving it to customers, we realized all of this needs to stitch together if you need to get a hyper scale into business. And that's when we started thinking, okay, this is a core software or a digital problem. It's not a hardware problem. Hardware problem is solved. Is getting solved or is solved? It was a primarily optimization and an efficiency problem, an analytics problem, which could be solved by various good digital technologies. Because if you think about an EV today is not as simple, but still a mobile phone. Everything is communicated, there are data packets moving from motor controller, battery, their cluster. There are so many parts, but there is data around everything in your product, which was missing in the ICE era, which is an advantage for everyone to leverage that and continue optimizing this segment. So we said, okay, can fleet operators create these digital technologies to manage assets internally, to manage them, to predict downtime, to predict the right charging infra needed in which location, to get state of health of a battery pack, to get it financed easily. So So he said it is a lot. It needs to be another entity which creates it. And that's what we started creating. And this 2 years back gave birth to an entity called Log9 Mobility. Now, what we were doing in Log9 Mobility was we created these digital technologies, these products for our own battery technologies, for our own battery-backed vehicles, and we entered the market. Then we started realizing that this problem is pretty big and it in itself is a very, very big opportunity to solve. So, and hence, we said, why not offer it to everyone? Why not make it an entity which can solve it for the masses? Now, all of us would be looking at our announcements, right, in the last 10 days. So there is this 9th announcement which I think everyone has been waiting for. So let's see what it is. So launching Ampun. Ampun, in very simple words, is a digital tech-enabled asset management company which manages primarily EVs and the complete infra around it for various fleet customers. It was a business we were building in stealth mode since last 2 years. Today we're close to 2,500 EV assets on road, connecting 600 charging points, managing a 100 crore asset under management altogether for 150 plus fleets, having a turnaround time of almost 2.7 days on any sort of servicing needs, growing 20 to 30% month on month. So a business that we have been trying to understand, we've been optimizing, and we've been scaling in the last 2 years, now holistically packaged in a product called Ampun. To now look at what exactly are we solving. So for a fleet first, reliability and servicing. As I said, for example, if you pick up any e-commerce company or any organized logistics SLA, it will say maximum 2 days of downtime. 2 days of servicing is all that is needed, is all that is allowed. Beyond that, there are penalties, etc. So we manage that uptime. We manage that through data to predict when is something going to go wrong, starting with the battery, to the motor, to the vehicle. To as low as, for example, if we see that the energy efficiency is not good, maybe your tire pressure is off. So accounting all of that so that your operations run smoothly. Uptime guarantees, we make sure we commit to you that, this is the maximum that we will, that there'll be a maintenance of 2 days, for example, nothing beyond that. Everything else is on us. Iterative product improvement. Now coming to the DNA of Log9, which passes on to Ampun, engineering first approach towards all problems. For us, it's not as simple. We don't act like a financer that we pick the product, we send it to a service station, and the OEM fixes it. We today, out of the 100 people team that we have across 26 cities, 60 people are on the ground managing servicing of these vehicles at either hubs of customers or on the road. So making sure whatever problem we find, rather than just fixing it, doing a permanent corrective action on the product so that the frequency goes down. That's where data comes into being. Financing and residual value. So we facilitate a lot of different type of innovative financing structures for these assets. We were the first ones in the country who started a buyback guarantee on EVs. The three-wheeler that we launched 2.5 years back, it was the first product which had a minimum buyback guarantee with it. We actually give you predictable data around state of health. which helps you in resale marketplace for these products, and various innovative asset financing models. Charging infra. Now, if you look at the last mile segment, the whole charging infra is a very broken space because a last mile player will have multiple different type of products with them, starting from a two-wheeler to a three-wheeler to a four-wheeler, different form factors, different charging protocols. All of this needs very planned charging infra to be deployed and to be aggregated amongst multiple fleet operators. For a fleet operator to put up a charger themselves and then manage it is a task. So we bring in CPO partners and we aggregate multiple different fleet partners, predict where the demand will be, and then deploy the charging infra. Increasing utilization, because we continuously tap into the charging infra data that come through our central command center, we make sure that we route traffic in a way, or we give that nudge to a customer saying, hey, this charger is idle, this charger has more capacity within this time period, why don't you use it? And seamless charging experience. For example, with our partner Pulse, we were the first one who started WhatsApp-based charging. So you can pay, a driver can simply pay by WhatsApp and start charging. Now the next thing actually would be plug and charge. You don't need to open anything. There's simply data going from your battery directly to cloud and your charging starts. Business insight. So we started realizing that for a fleet to earn a profit, they need to run as much kilometers as possible. But traditionally, logistics used to be managed in a way where the owner of the company used to just look at the end of the month, the accounts, and used to say, did I make a profit, did I not? Where was I leaking? With EV, that actually problem gets solved because now you have real-time data into seeing how much of your vehicles are being run. Secondly, what we did was we did the fleet management part of it, that software, the tracking software from a top-to-bottom approach, keeping the fleet in mind rather than the driver. So you can create cohorts. Or for example, if you have 5 fleets across Lucknow, Kanpur, you can simply click on Lucknow and see holistically how is Lucknow performing for you. Rather than seeing, okay, how is this driver performing for you, which there is a flow and you can go to that. But you can holistically see how a supervisor is performing for you or how a city is performing for you. Energy efficiency. So as all of us know, there's a lot of, it's an energy intensive business, right from making an EV to charging it. So we realized that there's a lot of optimization that can happen into it. The first one, which we already talked about, while you make an EV, there's a lot of energy which is already going into making that EV, right from the battery to the vehicle. The more that vehicle runs on the road, the more you're actually using those either energy, carbon that went into making that. So our first SLA is, which is to make sure that the vehicle is up, that actually solves for that. Secondly, after that, we work on a lot of, so basically our predictive maintenance works on predicting or seeing and analyzing how is the energy efficiency of your vehicle. Are you, because of some reason, consuming more energy in the vehicle? So using that data to tell you, okay, let's fix this, or to get it internally with our team who then goes and fixes it and make sure that you are within a band of energy efficiency so that your range is optimum. Though for a customer, it's only range, but what we say is if you solve for that, you solve for the amount of energy you consume for every kilometer run. Driver score, another algorithm we're creating wherein the idea is to take into, so this is not purely a business metric wherein you say, okay, this driver worked well, delivered so much. The metric is, it's technical. So you see how much of currents is your driver using. What SOC is he taking his vehicle to charge at? What state of charge? All of this actually helps you in optimizing the way your battery runs, which makes sure that your energy efficiencies are very good. So now all of this is controlled by a lot of back-end tech layers that we've built. Right from managing those assets to triggering service to managing that turnaround time to tracking these vehicles. All of that converge into a single platform, which we wanted to show everyone today, which is the single platform that a fleet operator can use to see all of these back-end operations with which we surround them to make sure that they run well.
Enter the world of smarter EV asset management with a comprehensive platform offered by Ampun to empower fleet operators and financiers with the tools and insights they need to succeed. Fleet operators and drivers can access a wealth of real-time data through the Fleet Operator/Drive dashboard. This dashboard provides a clear overview of the entire fleet, including the total number of vehicles, active vehicles, inactive vehicles, and daily kilometers traveled. Stay ahead of maintenance schedules by monitoring vehicles under repair or undergoing service. For electric fleets, optimize charging schedules and ensure vehicles are always ready to roll with easy access to charging station locations. Get the help you need quickly and easily with the built-in support ticket system. Now let's delve deeper into fleet performance with the Vehicle Analytics Dashboard. This powerful tool equips the user with granular insights to optimize operations and make data-driven decisions. Instantly categorize your fleet by type: two-wheelers, three-wheelers, and four-wheelers, with a clear count of each in your fleet. Track the real-time location of every vehicle on a map, enabling better route planning and resource allocation. Monitor the battery type of each vehicle, ensuring efficient charging strategies. Analyze charging behavior with details like slow and fast charging session counts and charging and discharging cycles, among others. The user can also get a detailed custom comparison chart by clicking on the link. Further, there are detailed sub-dashboards for a number of topics, such as Charging Infrastructure Overview, Replay, Trend Forecasting, Real-Time Alerts. Allows the user to stay informed with instant notifications about battery status changes, from normal to warning, alarm, and even critical, ensuring timely intervention and preventing costly breakdowns. The dashboard also offers detailed reports for a number of areas, from GPS, IoT error, etc. to charging sessions in non-running vehicles. Charging Session Report gives the user comprehensive insights into fast and slow charging sessions. Vehicle Run Period gives the user detailed breakdown of how much distance the vehicles have covered on a daily basis. With Amphion's Vehicle Analytics, the users have the power to transform fleet management from reactive to proactive, make informed decisions, optimize resources, and unlock the full potential of their fleet.
So we've been managing close to now 2,700, in fact, assets through this platform. This platform altogether brings in 4 different types of digital technologies at various levels, from IoT to cloud-based management to predictability and algorithms, and all of that converging into one single platform. What you saw on the top left, as recent as 1 month back, that was Log9, which now is Amphion. So we saw that the potential that this complete segment has is enormous, and hence so Amphion came into being. Now, when we started realizing that, for this, okay, so you're giving a lot of business insights, you're giving a lot of nudge, you're giving a lot of uptime to these fleets. Now, if the fleets use them well, that leads to the whole value chain becoming more optimized. Working with all of these fleet operators, we started saying, okay, why not leverage this data to acknowledge fleet operators who have been doing well, who have been leveraging all of this data to give results which can be data-oriented results for their delivery operations. And hence, we have come out with certain awards for various categories: most number of green kilometers driven, most energy-efficient vehicle operations, fastest growing fleet, highest utilization. So right after the complete the event today, we'll be doing these awards for the fleet operators. So now let's look at what does Amphion bring in together. It's multiple OEMs, because the product use cases and the products are diverse in the last mile space. It's not a simple 20-tonner truck that you have to create for 2 different, and a fleet will have 100 of those trucks and delivering cement from one city to the other city. You're talking about last mile, where there is a micro fulfillment center, there is a hub. You are moving goods on a 4-wheeler Tata Ace type of category which is an LCV, light commercial vehicle category, to a three-wheeler, to a two-wheeler right at your doorstep. Now, in fact, you see the Ulus as well, right? There is enough potential in that category altogether, because what we see, the more swift this whole segment is becoming, the more organized last mile is happening. You will have bigger trucks, and then you will have last mile. It will be that jet. So our ecosystem partners, we have OEMs, so multiple OEMs we work with to bring on ground the right products, to integrate the digital technology that we have created around that, right from two-wheeler, three-wheelers. Charging point operators, so bringing together. So charging infra, we feel, is a very hyperlocal play. Infra is an infra play. When you're putting up a charger, it's a real estate to a sort of a real estate play in that area. What we feel is that infra play will be different and the aggregation play will be different. And that's where we play a role there. So there are multiple CPO partners that we have now, close to 20 plus of them across India, who have their own regional strengths. We combine all of them because last mile itself is a pan-India market altogether, 26 cities, which ranges for us right from Calcutta to Jaipur to Chennai, Coimbatore. So diverse places, diverse CPO partners, bringing them all together for these fleets who are pan-India. Financiers, so we now work with more than 16 plus financiers with whom we have created these innovative asset finance models, and kudos to the finance team, Vinay, Ashim, Vijay, who have created these models which were one of the first in the country, to be honest. Residual value financing, no one was looking at it in the EV space. The moment you start underwriting the battery, because we knew battery, and you start underwriting that, okay, after 5 years, I'm bringing together another node, which is the recycler or a repurposement, or I'll take care of that asset after 5 years, your total monthly payout goes lesser. Because now you have underwritten, the risk goes lesser. There is someone who is saying, I understand this product. Because that was the gap. Engineering was the gap, to be honest, in this whole segment. Insurer, another player we brought in, we were one of the first who started insuring the residual value also, which was primarily because we had a lot of data around the battery pack, on how it ran, on our own manufacturing data, which we'll talk about after this. And all of that coming together, we call Ampun. So now, announcing one of our key partners in this segment. So Hitachi has been, so when we started doing this, we said, okay, is there global precedence of such a model coming in? Because asset management in the last mile space was new. There is asset management in EPCs, there is renewables, there is real estate, but is there a last mile asset management play? And hence we came across multiple of those companies globally who have been now doing it, because EV in the last mile has given that new opportunity. So Hitachi being one, they actually in Europe have done a project with First Group, which is a fleet operator there. It's a 1,500 bus project that they did, wherein they manage the EV assets for the fleet, First Group being the fleet, for intra-city passenger mobility. The outcomes were very good. They actually were able to optimize state of health of the battery pack to give good returns to the company. They were able to give better uptime, and hence we partnered with them to bring their know-how into this with us. First in the last mile segment for them, which is new for them, the smaller vehicle form factor. And for us, it's a pathway to enter into the bus market eventually as an EV asset management play. So we have a video from a message from Mike, the CRO of Hitachi Zero Carbon.
Hi everyone at Log9, congratulations on your Founders Day. I'm Mike Nugent, I'm Chief Revenue Officer of Hitachi Zero Carbon, and I'm really excited about our partnership with Log9. We're looking to do loads of really exciting things with you, first in India, building on your amazing success with 2 and 3 wheelers into buses, and financing and delivering amazing managed services to grow and expand the electric vehicle fleets in buses. We're looking forward to working with you guys. We're looking forward to seeing how that develops and seeing where else in the world we can take that, and really exploiting the great brand and reach and financial leverage that we can put together from a Hitachi side to make your business grow and to make Hitachi Zero Carbon the leading zero carbon delivery solution for fleets across the world.
So that was Hitachi. We've been working with them and now looking at bringing them to the last mile segment, and us also expanding in the last mile segment itself in the bus category. So that's where this is heading. Secondly, we also have with us one of our close partners and friends, Nikhil. Nikhil is the CEO of Gentari Mobility. Gentari Mobility is a company which also looks at innovative leasing models in the last mile space currently for the for commercial products. And Nikhil, if you can come on stage and give us an insight of how do you see this landscape? Is there alignment between our thesis and what you have, and how this is heading?
Thanks, first of all, Karthik, Pankaj, for having me. It's my second time Day Zero, and it's always a pleasure, right? And it's good to see the progress Log9 has actually made over the last 1 year, right? Just to give some context on what Gentari does, we are a completely owned subsidiary of Petronas, which is the oil and gas giant, based out of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And we operate out of 3 key pillars while problem solving the whole climate change issues, while moving away from burning fossil fuels and adopting clean energy, right? So we operate out of 3 key pillars, one being renewables, which is primarily solar and wind power, then being hydrogen, and the third being green mobility, which I basically head in India, right? And of course, we've heard a lot of numbers from Karthik and Pankaj, which is pretty exciting. But what excites me the most is a report which was published recently, which talks about by 2030, we'll have 16 million electric vehicles on Indian roads, right? And just to give you more context, when we started 2024, we were at 3.2 million electric vehicles. So there's a huge growth opportunity available with us right now. Yeah. So because of that, there's a lot of action happening in the EV ecosystem, whether it's financing electric vehicles, new product launches, battery tech, charging infrastructure, battery swapping, second life, etc. Right? So stream of opportunities out there right now, right? So which means no single player or a single large player or a group of players can actually solve all the pressing problems while we do this transition, right? So that's why we feel, as a part of Gentari, it's all the more important to have these these collaborations and join hands to make sure that the entire industry or the ecosystem kind of wins at the end, right? So in that quest, we have partnered with Log9. Of course, we do compete with each other in certain business lines, but more importantly, I think it's these meaningful partnerships which basically will help us win, both of us win in the long term, right? So I'm really excited. I'm really excited and looking forward to see this partnership flourish. And I believe that we should be the vanguards of innovation and strong execution. Godspeed.
Done. Thanks, Nikhil. And definitely, I think 10 lakh vehicles currently which need to be electrified and managed in the last mile segment, I think can't do alone. So yeah, so we talked about what we do, how it happens, what is the fleet experiencing, the whole landscape. Now talking about at the back end, how the data connects right from the cell and the battery to give you these insights, to give you these utilization matrices, etc. So I would want to call Akshay to talk about the Ampun AI engine.
Hello everyone, good morning. So we have seen that So we've seen how data is important and how data can be leveraged to provide very key insights to manage fleets better, manage the EV assets better for the large last mile sector that is growing perpetually in India over the last 5 years and will continue to grow for many years to come. But there's a lot of tech that goes behind in managing data, collecting this data, and then providing those insights. And one of the most important fact over there is that it is not just the data which is coming from the vehicles. We collect about 30 variable data each second from every battery out there in the field, but only that data is not important. And with that data, you can only predict so much, because it's very important to understand the data and record the data from the manufacturing stage of a battery and the vehicle itself. So that is where the battery beacon comes into the picture, which feeds along with the operating conditional data into the Ampun AI engine and provide you all these insights. So let's look at what goes into the battery beacon, right? It requires data stacks coming in from the cell. what has been the cell performance, what are the variations in the different cells, because these are physical products, so they're bound to have variations from one cell to another cell. How these cells go into a battery pack, what has been the manufacturing condition of the battery pack, and what have been the manufacturing parameters and conditions of the vehicle itself. And all this data kind of goes as the upstream data into the AI engine, and then it all comes together to really form what we call Ampun today. So in this approach, it is very important to kind of look at how different models can be devised, how can we channelize this data into actionable insights, and that's where we have partnered up with Bosch to come up with innovative state of health models and battery analytics models. So I'll call up on stage my colleague Nashim, who has been leading this partnership with Bosch India in terms of building these algorithms and managing data through these algorithms. So Nashim, can you tell everybody about how this real-time data is important and how it kind of goes into the models to predict battery health and to do more analytics on it?
Yeah, sure. So what Log9 Mobility has been, we have been sitting with tons of data, like 2,500 vehicles running day in, day out. So the differentiation that we have done here is we have been able to map our vehicle level data with the cell characterization data as sort of an industry first approach. And what we have been able to do is create a robust model in which banking system, financiers, NBFCs have been able to underwrite the asset quality rather than underwriting the operational metrics. So the biggest leverage that we have here is an industry first approach where cell characterization data followed by battery analytics data followed by an operational level battery data on ground, which is creating robust mechanism or metric which is being underwritten by financial institution. So as long as financial services institution, NBFCs, banks, leasing companies underwrite the metric and have a mechanism to monetize it, we have a differentiated technology to win this industry.
And what is very important to understand is that if you don't have actual physical data from the manufacturing stage coming into these models, the models cannot learn. What we have to understand is all these AI models are like children, right? If they are not corrected at the right stage, they can go deviate and provide you information which is redundant and which is of no value. So it becomes very, very important to just not let the model run, but it has to be corrected with actual physical data collected, and it has to be course corrected to make sure that the insights that we eventually get are as close to the reality as possible. And that is where real-time data and the upstream data come together, and we're working with Bosch on this to kind of really push forward these models and make them more and more reliable. Thank you, Nashim. So, thank you, and I think I would like to recognize our eminent guests, Mr. Narayan Murthy and Mr. Sonam Wangchuk, who have graced us on the occasion. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming. Pankaj, over to you.
Mr. Murthy, seeing you in the audience is something you dream of, and sometimes you kind of pinch yourself, am I here? Am I breathing the same air that you're breathing? So it's been a blessing and a pleasure to have you among us, and your presence actually strengthens all of us in a very different way, and we'll talk a little bit about that. I also have Mr. Sonam Wangchuk here, and I must say that what Mr. Sonam has done is taken a first principle approach around problem solving. You're very well known for your iStupa. You're very well known for your center, a high altitude center where the entire energy is created by the sun, with the wind, with the local materials, and there's no use of fossil fuels. So you're a beacon of innovation for India, and that's been a very big incentive for us to have the opportunity to have you among us. And what we've seen with your work, what inspires us when we look at the kind of work that you're doing is you take local innovation, you look at indigenization, and you look at how materials, resources can be put together to bring innovation for a specific area. And that's really what probably India is planning to do, because we have such massive natural resources. And if we can all bring it all together and indigenize for India, I think India is set to dominate the world the way it can. And I would have, may I request you to be with us on the stage and share your views on how you looked at indigenization.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me here. And I always start my lectures, unfortunately, the conventional conferences, by thanking the organizers for making me feel at home when I leave Ladakh at -3, you know. All these overly air-conditioned halls that I'm taken to. So I, first of all, want to thank you for actually giving me the warmth of Bangalore today. I always come dressed for the place. So I'm very lightly dressed, but I have over time learned, and I have kept a down jacket in my bag, wondering if it would be in one of those halls. So you're already indigenizing, you know, not aping what happens in New York and London and creating that in the whole area to bring it down to +18 when it is pleasant +30 outside, and then putting many pieces. So thank you for that. One little tip, I'm all about energy VR. This is really warm and great for me, but later in summer, if you get it little hotter, you can grow vines on it. We used to do it in tropical Nepal. And it's beautiful, and it cools the place, and you don't need air conditioning, and you could be an example for others also, since we are talking about energy. I'm grateful, and I want to thank this team for all that they are doing for the planet and for the country also, rather than going away to greener pastures in other countries. They're staying put here, facing the problems and solving them. This is what I call warriors of the planet. Yeah, I'm grateful, and I'm grateful for all the people who are supporting them, Mr. Murthy and investors here. This is where we must invest and make this grow. Indigenization is truly great, but I'm sure out of it will come solutions that will be used by many, many places around the globe. And I've seen you look forward to the tropical regions of the world which share similar conditions. So that's a very good vision to have, but I was actually surprised because the products you are making and that we are testing in Ladakh actually have much larger range than just tropical. Your lithium titanium oxide batteries that we are using have a range in temperatures up to -30. And that's what we face challenges constantly when we are trying to find energy systems for the military, for communications like Li-Fi set on mountains. Temperatures are so cold. We have done a lot of innovation by passive solar heating, but the chemistry, if it can solve, even better. So you have actually a range that could cover the whole spectrum and not even just the tropical. So otherwise, indigenizing is the key. For places like Ladakh, when we talk of energy, and generally on the planet, you talked about automobiles contributing roughly 21% and getting a very bad name for emissions and pollution. Actually, housing, building sector is the biggest polluter, which many don't realize. It goes to roughly 39% of the emission coming from buildings. And in that spirit, in Ladakh, where most of the energy used is in heating of the buildings, many people don't see the indigenizing potentials and go for sophisticated, unnecessary technologies like batteries even for heating. Many projects in Ladakh right now are looking at that, whereas if you study, research is done, energy needs in a establishment or even a home in a cold place, roughly 80% is on heating, maybe a little on cooking. Electricity forms a very small percentage because heating is so huge. And talking of indigenization, we said heating doesn't need lithium-ion or lead acid. Heat batteries can actually be best made of water. And therefore, all our buildings use water as the battery because water is this beautiful material that has a high specific heat. Actually, that's why most coastal areas have a more stable temperature because the water bodies act as that battery, if we call it battery. So we use water in the walls to deal with the 80% of energy need. So you have done away with a lot of products and chemicals that may spoil the planet. But then for the rest, 20 or 30%, these are the technologies. And I'm so happy that you are at the cutting edge with deep tech and all right here in India. And I look forward to you leading the rest of the planet in this. And I want to finally thank, on behalf of our glaciers in Ladakh, all our, endangered animals like the snow leopards and the black-necked cranes, because it is because of life in the big cities like Bangalore, Beijing, Paris, New York, where you consume so much and use up so much, waste so much, emit so much, and these technologies are going to drastically reduce that, and the beneficiaries actually will be us at the forefront of this climate crisis, the ones in the high Himalayas and those at the seashores. So by choosing where the pain is, like commercial vehicles as you target, I'm so happy that people are really optimizing and indigenizing to see where it all comes from and dealing with that. Commercial vehicles definitely is where there are more people than others, and there should be more and more people as we try and learn to manage not just supply side, but also demand side. The problem in the world is that we only think of replacing this with that and doing the same things as before. A little good effect, yes, but the biggest effect will be if we change the whole scenario. Not just change the supply, source, and materials, but also the demand side, that we change our lifestyles to use more public transport, which is where you're aiming. So in the coming years, I would like to see more people going towards public transport or commercial vehicles than we have, and then also parallelly solving that problem by technologies like this. So it will have to be a hand-in-hand collaboration of changing the supply side and very much, educating and grooming people, starting with children, to live a life that is more planet-friendly. So with that wish, I really thank you all for doing all this. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Sonam. Hearing these words from you is amazing, and connecting the dots of the innovation, I think that's the center part of it. And building something here in Bangalore that can keep the snow mountain happy, I think that's worth a target living for. Let's keep that snow leopard happy. Let's keep that Tai Long, of the Kung Fu Panda happy, looking for the Kung Fu Panda. But I think, thank you for the compliments, and looking forward to building technologies and shipping it to Ladakh. We are super proud that some of our batteries are operating in the minus 30 degrees, and some of our batteries are on their way for the Indian Army also. So we're looking to partner with the defense forces at the high altitude so that we can bring the technology for the sons of India. Building technology has multiple layers, and one of that layer is in the battery. The central part of that technology layer is the cell. And Log9 has been known for its cell innovation. Let's look at what we have created, because India still does not have its own lithium-ion cell manufacturing other than Log9. And last year we went ahead, took a giant leap in setting up 50 megawatt of indigenized lithium-ion production. And here is how we did it. Robin, can I have you on the stage, because you and your team have worked tirelessly at working on fundamental materials, innovating on cell design, understanding coating technologies, understanding how to dissipate heats, how to get a cell fast charge, how to even analyze a cell and create predictive models built on top of it. And one of the bigger outcome is when you build technologies and it takes a big leap forward and gets accredited. And we are super excited to share that our TIB LTO cells have been proudly certified by the BIS. So what does this mean? What does this mean? What is this certification telling us, Robin?
So really grateful for the opportunity, Pankaj, and in the presence of esteemed guests, it's the brain and hands of a lot of cell technology scientists and engineers who completely took a giant step of risk to unlock the largest commercial cell form factor and completely making it indigenized. On top of that, getting it certified by the Bureau of Indian Standards is a great sense of achievement at this point of time. So this is also unlocking a lot of India's access to the fundamental R&D of understanding the cells, which comprise a lot of value inside the battery production as well. So with our eminent team, in the collaboration of AI, ML, if we can crack this, I hope that a lot of things are exciting and which is upcoming in our R&D facilities in the coming years.
And there are questions I can ask, but you can't answer. What are you going to do next year? Let's wait for next year, because Robin and his kitchen is always buzzing with new recipes. Thank you, Robin. Thank you for being here. And while fundamentally working on materials, building cell is perhaps one of the most complicated pieces in the entire ecosystem of battery innovation, because cell has materials, cell has design, cell has metals, cell has process, cell has technologies that are coded together. And one of the bigger things in that direction is to fundamentally bring new materials and bring new innovation to our cell technology. And we are super proud that I have my dear friend from the United States of the America here. Michael, can I have you on the stage? Thank you, Michael. We will set you up on that side. You're pretty tall for my side. I know the IPL season is going on, and you seem like a foreign player that's going to come and play an IPL here, but but you're doing something fantastic. I think the Zeta team is doing something fantastic back in the US. You guys are at the cusp of innovating a very new material, pushing the boundaries of lithium-ion materials and science with lithium sulfur. Can you share a little bit about what the work that's been happening at Zeta?
Yeah, thanks. First of all, thank you very much for being here again. Yeah, to all my wonderful hosts. I'd love to be here. But talk a little bit about Zeta, what we have been doing. So Zeta originally was founded in Houston, Texas, and with our kind of founding members, what they researched was the technology, how we can build a cathode material. So one portion of the battery using primarily sulfur. So sulfur is a waste product. The gentleman from Petronas, he probably can testify to that. Whenever you have the crude oil going to a refinery, one thing that comes out on one side is sulfur. And a lot of these refineries, they don't know what to do with the sulfur. So this is our key building block, using sulfur, and then also a polymer, and then combining that with carbon nanotubes. And this all mixed is then becoming our cathode. And I think the beauty is that this is also location agnostic. You can build the same thing here in India, you can build it in any place, because you have more than sufficient refineries here that would be able to provide you the material. So for us also the strategy is to become independent of China. I mean, in the US it's a big topic, the dependency of Chinese materials coming into the batteries. And everybody says, yeah, we're independent, but then they hire another third party that provides them the material and they buy it in China. So all these materials on the cathode side, comes from local suppliers. And on the anode side, what they've done is they developed a technology that they can grow carbon nanotubes directly onto a copper foil. And here again, the beauty is, we can use, a methane gas, which is typically also a waste product. A lot of oil wells, they're emitting methane, and this is the building block, the feedstock of our anode. Yeah. And now with that, which is also very interesting, a lot of the batteries, they're using graphite on the anode side. Because of us using the carbon nanotubes, we do not need any graphite. So here again, China controls 75% of the graphite production in the world. We're completely independent of that. We don't need it. And it can also be produced here in India as well.
Well, couldn't be more excited with the collaboration between Log9 and Zeta. Thanks for coming over, and
thanks for having me.
We look forward to building. Let's think of a cell that does not use this graphite, that uses the output of a crude oil refinery, that sucks up the methane out of the environment and give you a cell that's lighter, better, faster, and perhaps cheaper if you do it together. So I think we're on a great trajectory over there. And talking about cells, Akshay, building cells, at the grassroots, at the fundamental levels, what Robin and we talked about it. But we have also been talking about taking a cell from, and Dr. Raghavan last time talked about it, taking something from physical to cyber. Can you talk a little bit about how is it going to take cells from physical to cyber?
So a cell is a physical unit, right? It is not created by a control C and a control V. So you need to really physically manufacture a cell. And there are so many parameters that go into manufacturing, and there are so many parameters that it delivers. There are specifications of cells, and they can have a minute difference among these parameters. Each cell manufactured on the same line in the same batch can have few percentages of difference in its capacity, in its voltages, in its degradation profiles, in its different kind of parameters. And that becomes very, very important to understand, analyze, and put it into models. So it becomes very, very important to take a cell, understand it, and understand the variations among different cells, and create digital twins of it. A model which will run in the background on the cloud and can predict what will happen with the cell or with the battery in the real time, in the real world. And that becomes very, very critical to kind of be able to predict the health, the residual life in any battery, in any electric vehicle. So for that to happen, and for to work that out, we have been working with a company, which we'll be announcing now, to make these digital twins. And while this company was there for a long time and this provided softwares where you can build these models, the challenge was that how do you feed, first of all, how do you collect the right information from a physical cell, and how do you then feed it into the software and provide and build those models which actually work. And that is the problem that we are solving with our partner Gamma Technologies. So can we have the team from Gamma today on the stage, please?
Today we have Satej with us. Satej, thank you. Please join on the stage, please.
Hi, Satej. Welcome to Log9.
Okay.
So Satej, can you tell the audience here about how does the Gamma software work and what it can provide to the battery and the EV industry, and then how Log9's efforts coming together can really solve a big challenge?
Sure. First of all, thank you so much for this opportunity. So Gamma Technologies, we develop a product called GT Suite, which is used for a system level simulation. So in the journey of electrifications, so we develop any vehicle like 2-wheeler, 3-wheeler, 4-wheeler, trucks, or any kind of hybrid vehicle. You can build a complete vehicle into a system, into a software, and then you can identify what is the range of the vehicle, what is the performance of the vehicle. So that is at the vehicle level. Along with that, we have a tool called Autolion, where we work closely with Log9 for performing a test like cell performance and aging, and designing the cell at the electrochemical level. So that's where a partnership of Log9 and Gamma Technology came into picture. So we sign a partnership where together with our technical team along with the team from Log9 will be helping them in their product development process, so that we can reduce this development cycles of the new development time.
Thanks, Satej. And together we will be now offering these services not just for our own development in Log9, but anybody who is either developing a cell in the world or is trying to develop a battery with the produced cells from other companies, and how do they understand them, how do they put them together. So together with Gamma, we'll be offering these services to a larger ecosystem to be able to analyze cells, put them into models, and then make better batteries and better products with it. Thank you, Satish.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you very
just
much.
to add on that, so not only to the Indian customer, will be also helping with the technology to the globally as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Satish. Thank you very much. So moving forward, as I was saying, that each cell is different from the other cell produced on the same line and even in the same batch, right? So there are minute variations, and these variations can significantly grow over time, and then that's what leads to premature failure of batteries and EVs on the road. So it becomes very, very important to understand these variations, and for that I'll call on stage my colleague Suyash, who has been working on developing algorithms to figure out how we can analyze different variations and how can we kind of select similar cells for making a battery pack which can go into an EV. Suyash, can you come on the stage, please?
Thanks, Akshay.
So Suyash, tell us about that, how this algorithm works, what it has to do to be able to identify these variations and then give enough cells to the manufacturing of similar type for making the battery packs.
Absolutely. So basically, as you mentioned, the traditional approach of selecting similar cells together based on one or two parameters may not always result in a battery pack getting cells which are closely matched together, hence resulting in different degradation profiles and causing battery pack to be of poorer quality. But when you try to increase the number of parameters, the complexity of the mathematical computation that goes into finding that particular combination of cell and battery pack goes exponentially higher. So this is where CellAcer, our proprietary algorithm, comes into picture. We consider multiple parameters which are associated with cell and then traverse through a multi-dimensional space and perform multiple millions of combinations of matching cells with different battery packs, and then eventually a particular cell is assigned to a particular battery pack based on the closeness of different cells, and resulting in better quality of battery pack.
So that is important, and these millions of calculations are important to figure out that which cells fit together, so that we have to also minimize wastage of any cells, right? You can't be making very dumb packing or classification of cells, and all cells have to be utilized, and these algorithms help us do that, drive efficiency on that side, at the same time minimize variation of cells within the battery pack. And that's how CellAcer kind of sorts these cells out, and then these cells can finally go into the battery pack and then make a long-lasting, reliable battery pack which can then go into a vehicle. And we have a lot of our OEM partners. We also have Uday Narang from OSM. We've been building these three-wheelers with them. And that's how the entire journey completes, from understanding the cell, taking the data at the cell level, making digital twins, feeding that data, sorting the cells, making a battery pack, and then even at the battery pack level, when you're designing the battery pack, understand the cell data, and then create a digital twin on the battery level. And that's what finally goes into making Ampun work towards driving efficiency on the fleet side. So it is linked end to end from upstream to downstream. And that is very, very important to connect all of this smartly to provide a holistic solution in the EV ecosystem. So this is where we also, thank you, Suyash. And this is where we are also will announce another partnership with Rev. And I think I have Karan in the house today. So if Karan can come on the stage. As he walks up, in terms of, I think he's stuck in traffic somewhere, probably. We always have that challenge in Bangalore. But to talk about Rev partnership, right? So as you build these reliable battery packs, right, it becomes even more possible to be able to solve the larger electrification problem, where you don't only solve the problem of making new electric vehicles, but with reliable battery packs you can solve for the problem of electrifying existing vehicles on road, which are either old EVs or it can be old ICE and fuel vehicles itself. And that is the partnership with Rev, where they have a whole inventory of old fuel vehicles which we can provide the battery and the powertrain for, and then we'll be electrifying them, and these vehicles can reduce the cost of passenger electric mobility fleets like taxi services in the country, and that will drive the ecosystem much faster into complete electrification of taxi fleets for India and then beyond India as well. So with this, I'll hand over to Pankaj.
Thank you, Akshay. And I'm sure everybody has guessed. Everybody has come for one specific thing in this day zero, which has been to hear the thoughts of Narayan Murthy ji, sir. And we will have a fireside chat with Mr. Murthy today to have some of the pearls of wisdom that I grabbed when I had a very good evening coffee with you, sir. And I was telling Sheetal and our team at Catamaran that I wish I had a notepad with me while Mr. Murthy spoke, because there was so much that was available for an entrepreneur to just absorb. And I've been making those mental notes. But to bring the same insights to everybody here, that would be an honor and a pleasure. Mr. Murthy needs no introduction. But I'll still read it because I have an opportunity to do that. I'll just take 30 seconds to do that. Murthy Murthy has been listed among the 12 greatest entrepreneurs of our time by Fortune magazine. He has been described as the father of Indian IT sector by Times Magazine and CNBC for his contribution for outsourcing in India. In 2005, he co-chaired the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Among many accolades, Mr. Murthy has been honored with the Padma Bhushan and Padma Shri. Mr. Murthy, may I request you to join me on the stage, please?
Well, before we start the conversation, let me make two important points. First is, I know I'm overdressed in this wonderful congregation. There are two reasons for that. First is, in 1982, I went to a PR firm on Madison Avenue in Manhattan to learn about how to enhance trust in the US and Western Europe, because at that time, 100% of our revenue was to come from those countries. Today, I think it's about 98%.
Yeah.
What they told me was, look, you have to reduce the dissonance between your culture and their culture if you want to enhance their trust. One of the ways of doing it is to minimize the difference between their culture and your culture. And they said the first aspect of that is your dress. They told me that you should not be dressed in a way different from your customers. Those days, as you know, everybody wore formals, particularly on the Wall Street.
Yeah.
So therefore, I have had this habit for 42 years now, and it's not easy to shake it off. The second reason is, generally, it is my secretary who tells me whether dress is formal or business casual or informal. Unfortunately, maybe you people had written it, I don't know, but I was not given that information. And my trainers in the US had told me, when in doubt, always wear formals. Anyway, the second point that I want to make is that there is not much that I can add value to you people because you people are smarter. You people have access to more information, more knowledge, more channels, more skills, more expertise. However, there are a few time invariant and context invariant aspects of running a company. And therefore, last night when I met these wonderful three people along with my colleague Deepak and Sheetal and Chirag, I told them it will be a lot more valuable, at least that's what I think, for you people if we had a conversation on those aspects rather than on technical aspects, because even though I am an engineer, I know zilch about batteries. So I said you will be wasting your time. So therefore, this conversation is going to be on the business aspects and the cultural aspects of building an organization. Yeah, now you can take it.
And thank you for that, sir. And one of the questions that, and one of the things that we discussed that day was, and I was delighted to hear that the average age of Log9 is 26, and these young, energetic, highly intellectually driven Log9ers are stepping into their different roles of leading a team, becoming on the managerial side, managing not only product but also the aspiration of their interns and teams and going forward. How did you manage that? Because you said that even at Infosys, early days, it was a bunch of 26-year-olds trying to change the world, and probably something similar happening here.
Well, I found pretty early in the life of Infosys that there are three extremely important factors that contribute to the longevity of a company. First, access to market. Unless a company improves its access to market, however great its ideas may be, it has zero value. I have seen some of the finest youngsters, PhDs from the best institutes, MIT and other institutions in the US, but somehow they had not understood this. So first is access to market. You must have the best salespeople. In fact, some of my colleagues, some of my younger founder colleagues used to get upset with me because I always paid most importance to our salespeople and then second to our finance people. And that created in some sense a little bit of a problem, but now of course they're all billionaires and multiple billionaires. They're all very happy that I did so. So that's the first aspect. Access to market. Get the best salespeople for your company. Second is access to talent. A company is worth zilch unless it brings in the best quality minds. Today, Catamaran has a zero value without people like Deepak Padki, MD Rangnath, who is the chairman, Sheetal Bhatt, Chirag, Raunak Agarwal, many of those. Because it's the power of human mind that innovates and that brings new ideas to the table. So your biggest task is to recruit, enable, empower, and retain the best and the brightest. Once you do it, you will grow.
Absolutely. I think that's been all of our experience. We are blessed to have Log9ers here, and for the three of us, and I can speak for both Akshay and Karthik, if a quiz comes to us that why do we show up at the office, it's really for everybody who's here. It's the people. And I think, you talked about culture eats strategy for lunch.
Yeah. That's what
Can you elaborate a little bit
Peter
on that?
Drucker said. I didn't say that. He said that. Yeah.
Can we elaborate on that? Because that was a very good insight for us that day.
Coming back to what I had still not completed my answer. So, the most important thing, having understood how to enhance, increase access to the market, how to recruit the best and the brightest, the next challenge you have is to compare yourself with the best global players in your area and with the best global players in every one of the functions of your organization, whether it is in finance, whether it's in human resources, whether it's in planning, whether it's in sales, marketing, whatever it is. You have to benchmark, not with the Indian one, that will not lead you too far, with the best global thing. Next, I have found is this. In order to communicate the power of your idea, you need to formalize the idea. You need to, where possible, use very simple mathematical modeling. You would be surprised, even though our industry started sometime in '68, until Infosys formalized the idea of remote software development in the form of global delivery model and represented it as a slide with arrows and circles. Somehow nobody had done it. I don't know why. They are brighter than us, they are smarter than us. Yeah. That's not the issue. The issue was Infosys was the first one company that formalized the global delivery model. And what the global delivery model did were two things. One, it made it simple for every employee of Infosys to understand the business that we were in. It made our prospects, it made the task of our prospects simple to understand what business we were in, what value we were going to add to them. Third, it also told us what were the various input variables, what were the various output variables, what variables matter most to the customer, what variables can create a feedback loop. You're all engineers, so you'll understand, you've done control systems. So what variables should be in the feedback loop, etc., etc. So therefore, I would say that you have to formalize what you do in terms of, formalization does not always mean mathematics, it could be simple logic, but it should be easily representable, it should be easily understood by everybody, it should be easy to communicate, it should be easy to understand, and it should be easy to execute. So that's what I would say you have to do. If you benchmark yourself with the best, we benchmarked with Hewlett-Packard in human resources development before Carly Fiorina came, okay? We benchmarked with Motorola in quality. We benchmark, of those days, of course, Motorola today is, is a floundering. We benchmarked with General Electric in their ability to deliver top line and bottom line earnings per share, quarter after quarter after quarter. So I think in some way, you will have to benchmark with the global players. You will have to formalize your value proposition, and you will have to have access to the best talent, and you'll have to reduce friction to access to market. That's where I will stop. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think benchmarking against, I think there is this tendency to drinking your own Kool-Aid and thinking that you're doing everything right, but fantastic advice in terms of, and not just benchmarking, we tend to benchmark on revenue and sometimes, but what you said, it's taking across a broad spectrum view of the entire business and taking it over there. I have two more questions to run through them. One of them is, I'll come back to that. How does culture eat strategy for lunch?
Well, culture is how you spend your time, what brings you joy, what makes you sad, who your friends are, how do you spend it, what kind of books you read, what kind of music you appreciate. The culture is a conglomeration of basically how you spend your life and how you treat people, how courteous you are when you disagree with others, whether you follow the well-known adage, you can disagree with me as long as you are not disagreeable. So I think culture is that. Culture is what distinguishes a gentleman or a lady from a not-so-gentleman or a not-so-good lady. And the beauty of culture is that it helps people to contribute to the common good easily, because one of the aspects of our culture was to put the interest of the company ahead of our personal interest in the short and medium term. And doing that will benefit us hugely in the long term. See, many times some of the younger people in the company were a little bit upset with the focus on austerity that we did. But today they're all laughing to the bank, because they're all billionaires, right? So I think that deferred gratification is very, very important. Agreeing to disagree without being disagreeable is very important. Showing humility and grace when you are on the top is very important. So that's where our byline was powered by intellect, driven by values. That in essence summed up the kind of talent we were looking for. In fact, Bill Gates told me, Steve Jobs told me that this was the best byline that they had ever seen. So anyway.
Absolutely. No, I think disagreeing without becoming disagreeable, I think that's phenomenal insight. And sir, one of the things from that evening that left a big impression on me is when you talked about how everyone in an organization can do things cheaper, better, faster, but because it always looks like maybe there is a team that is supposed to optimize a business and everybody is support. But you talked about bringing everybody as a stakeholder of change and optimization. Can you enlighten?
Well, the objective of the strategic objective of any company has to create and sustain differentiated business value to your customers or consumers. That's all there is. That's all what business is all about. In other words, you have to be ahead of the pack being your competitors. In order to do that, there's only one instrument, and that is constant invention and innovation. Invention is somewhat difficult. Not everybody can do that. But definitely we can have continuous innovation. As I was telling you yesterday, we conducted a workshop in 1990 on how to innovate. We wanted the janitor to the CEO and chairman to be present. We were all present. We were just a small company at that time, probably about 120 people. And a few days later, one of the janitors who used to maintain 6 or 8 conference rooms in what used to be called Ready Building then, where we were before we moved to Electronic City. He asked me, what is this? I didn't understand. And I told him, sit down. I said, you have to ask only 3 questions every day, or at least once a week. One, how can I do whatever I am doing today faster tomorrow? So I explained to him, look, you are cleaning these conference rooms and other rooms. You're using a cloth and one hand. Why don't you try to use 2 pieces of cloth and 2 hands? You would automatically improve your productivity by whatever effect. But I said, look, at his level, that is the best he could do. So I didn't go into jargons. I didn't go into complex issues. Second, I told him, go to the market and find out if there is a cleaning liquid which will clean a bigger surface area per unit of usage of that cleaning liquid than what you are doing today. The second question that all of us have to ask is, how can I do whatever I'm doing today cheaper tomorrow? I told him, I said, all that you need to do is go to the market and find out if there are any cheaper cleaning liquids which are at least as good as the one that you're using or better. Then automatically you reduce the cost of what you're doing. The third thing I told him was, think about how you can do whatever you're doing today with a higher quality tomorrow. I said, when you clean the conference room and the floors, etc., just spend a little bit of time and find out how many specks of dust are there on the table and on the floor. Take a decision that tomorrow I'll make sure that that is 1 less. Over a period of whatever, 5 or 10 or 20 days, that floor and that table will be clean. So as long as everybody in the company asks these questions, how can I do whatever I'm doing faster, cheaper, and better, then I think you will be in a position to bring in constant and sustainable competitive advantage for you vis-a-vis your competitors. Of course, we can go on and on and on, but...
So I think this is a masterclass that everybody's glued onto it, and we can actually, nobody would want us to stop, but we have something exciting. I've been looking at what's sitting on your left side in the black kind of a magic trick, and I wanted to request, but I wanted to say thank you. Can I have a big round of applause for Mr. Murthy for being with us, kind enough to be our chief guest and sharing these pearls of wisdom. Having you here, sir, is a real pleasure and an honor, and I must say that for everybody who is an entrepreneur, and all of us are entrepreneurs here, to be in your presence, to have these words from you, just continues to inspire us to and go and build companies and transform lives and impact India in a way that can contribute the way you have contributed. And you have left a trailblazing road for all of us, and we are right behind you on that journey.
Even though I'll be violating your time restraint, let me close it by saying one thing. My friend, late C.K. Prahlad, used to say, entrepreneurship is just a state of mind. It is not that only those who start companies become entrepreneurs. He said, entrepreneurship is all about doing things faster. It's all about creating a competitive advantage for yourself vis-a-vis all others in your group, in your company, in your function, doesn't matter. And it is all about striving for excellence. I think as long as we keep that in mind, we are all entrepreneurs. We may, management gurus may call intrapreneur, all of that is all, that's different. What is important is that every one of us can be an entrepreneur because it is just a state of mind.
Yeah. That's a great message, and seeing all the entrepreneurs in this room, I know that everybody wants to know what's on that side. So may I request, sir, if I can walk with you on this side. And this is something that we've been working very hard at. This is, not sir, we can just be here and I'll help you pull this thing up. And this is something that we wanted to unveil because this is going to power India in a way that India has not seen today. Building a technology that will bring more money to people, bring better technology, great vehicles. So today we are unveiling our two-wheeler battery pack. I have some exciting stuff coming up. I can take you down. No. Thank you.
So, can I have you here? Yeah. So, as everyone knows, we were one of the first companies in India to start rapid charging. We innovated and brought LTO, lithium titanate, one of the chemistries in the market. This is 2.5 years back, and we actually, with the focus on commercial EVs, we created the solutions for last mile, long lasting, etc. In the last 2 years, we did understand there is another segment we want to tap into, which would be the retail segment, the mass segment. Also, we wanted to create our next-gen products because the chemistry, as all of us know, continues innovating. And it will be a journey which will continue happening for the next 10, 15 years itself. So how do we adapt? One of the great things I learned from Sir 2 days back was de-risking. A very important part of any, I'll say not only organization, for anyone individually as well to keep in mind. And that's what we started thinking of way early. In fact, the day we launched the product, I remember 2 months after that itself, we were thinking, what next? We knew the product will have a 2-year life cycle. We'll be able to, scale it up. We'll be able to create a mark. We'll be able to create that category of long-lasting commercial EV batteries as a solution. So we said, okay, what next? There is LFP. What do we start working on? Do we just put together some LFP cells and make a battery pack? We realized, we have a lot of learnings in the commercial EV segment. Can we do it different? Can we create the right balance between now range and charging? Can we bring rapid charging to a bit fast, but increase range so much that anyone and everyone can start using the products? There is no range anxiety as a question itself. Can you still bring fast charge to that? And that to a standardized fast charge infra being backed by the government. After that, we also thought of, okay, so life. Maybe not a 20-year life, but a 5-year life. Because 3 years is too small for a customer in this category. And hence, we started working on that. Took us good 1.5 years of various iterations. And I know the anxiety and the whole anxiousness of Ankush, Shubham, Pranjal, Shashank and the team, which, every time change this, let's not do this, okay, scrap this, multiple iterations in the last 1.5 years. But finally creating our next range of products, next mile for the mass category in the commercial EV space, and launching the first product, which are very, a very key partner since last 2 years. We launched our two-wheelers with them and we've been scaling pretty fast with them. It's been more than 1,000 two-wheelers now on road running in the last mile segment with Quantum. And I have Mr. Chakri, the MD of the company here, who has been a very, very good friend and very good associate in this journey. And the first product that goes out of Log9 in the LFP segment will be the Next Mile 4500, which is a product around long range. But Mr. Chakri, if you can help us understand the product and how do you think it will help in the market that you are in the two-wheeler segment in the last mile space?
Sure. Thank you, Karthik, for the opportunity. And thank you all guests, Honorable Narayan Murthy sir. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Coming to the point, day zero is always a day of excitement, so we always are waiting for something new to happen. Last year, we were able to launch the LTO product, which could fast charge in 20 minutes, which is the fastest charging electric scooter in the industry. So again, our partnership with Log9, we have worked deeply and found that, even though we have the fastest charging scooter, the last mile mobility still needs something. Sometimes they don't even want to be bothered to have a charge in the middle of the day. So a lot of fleet players were asking for something that could last them the entire day. So that's where we said, okay, what we have is also solving a problem, but we need something else that could really address the broader spectrum where they don't need to find a charging station and can get about doing their work, delivering things from, for the quick commerce, for, the Amazons or whoever it is. So with this, Log9 came up with the idea of an LFP battery. So if we were to regard the battery as the heart of the vehicle, we said, okay, for a new heart, we felt that the vehicle, the product also needs a new body. So we have developed an entirely new product working in collaboration with Log9. And here we present today, the new business vehicle. Thank you. Thank you, Karthik.
Thanks, Ankit. So the product comes, as you see in front, it's a purely built for last mile deliveries. It's for both deliveries as well as passenger mobility, because we're seeing bike taxi being a big use case coming up in India. We feel that, shared mobility will be a big market altogether, because it definitely leads to more optimization of assets and resources. So this product can be a bike taxi as well as a delivery vehicle. If you see on the back seat, that back seat comes up, becomes your gives you support, and then a delivery box can be put there. It goes down, it converts into a passenger sitting and become a bike taxi. The battery pack that we're putting in gives you minimum 120 kilometer range, and the commitment is stable, reliable range for the next 5 years. The degradation has been calibrated in a way that next 5 years you'll get minimum 120 kilometers on the product. It comes with Type 6 fast charge, one of the main fast charge, the complete tech that Indian government is also pushing, and a lot of OEMs are adopting it. Can be charged within 1 hour, 20 to 80%, and 1.5 hours complete full charge. Can also be charged at home. 5 years warranty, no questions asked. The main pain point of commercial last mile segment. Battery comes with a 3-year warranty, too many asterisks, too many questions. Can we solve that? So we have solved that in that battery pack. So yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks, Chakriji, for coming here, and thanks for, making this work.
Thank you, Karthik. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Karthik. Again, thank you, Mr. Murthy, for being with us today, sharing your thoughts. Thank you, Mr. Sonam, for so graciously flying over from the glaciers into the warm Bangalore that we have welcomed into you. It's been a great 2024 Day Zero, and I'm only inspired and enthusiastic about the statement that I made at the start of this event, that if in 9 years we can reach here, imagine what we're going to talk in 10 years, which is going to be the Day Zero 2025. I'd say thank you to everyone that has joined us online. We would see you within 12 months with fantastic innovations on battery, technology, digitization, and hopefully, with the blessings of everybody here, take India into its next stages. Thank you for